Another video, but here's one thing I like to say before. I well, stories what you are about to hear are 100% and don't depict any or any or anything. So, yeah. So I thought I would tell some stories about space exploration or something like that. Well, since I did go see Project Hail Mary yesterday, and so once upon a time, there was these astronauts called, well, they were named Ryan, Paul, and Jeff and Beatrice. So Ryan, Paul, Jeff, and Beatrice, well, they're astronauts that are on a space mission to Mars, and well, they end up encountering like or end up seeing some unknown anomalies, and also end up, well, maybe like 2 years later they finally, or however how long it would take you to get to Mars, they finally arrived to Mars, and well, from wherever, from Mars and all that, they send a Mars rover, and they send it to Mars to track anything it may find. And there was some anomalies that there was, and there were these rock formations, and they were monoliths, and even there was no sun, and or maybe there was, which the Mars rover itself didn't really have a good quality of camera. It was more like a CTV camera almost. And a few days later, they end up going back to Earth and realized that they went through a wormhole, and they ended up in arriving to Earth w- 9 years in the future, or yeah, 9 years in the future. And yeah, they notice Earth has really changed, and or I don't know, I'm just telling some space exploration stories. I'm not sure where this is going here, but yeah, this will also be on my Spotify podcast. And if you do have any other suggestions for stories you guys may want to hear, then consider, well, leaving any comments. And I will be posting something on my community tab. So, yeah. So, I will be posting something. Well, is that so? I'm just playing along, but on to our next story. So, yeah, meanwhile, these two astronauts, Jeff and Jim, are actually on a space mission, and, well, this sort of might take maybe inspiration from, well, the Alien franchise or something like that. Or I don't know, but or maybe not. But actually, no, not that franchise. Those attempts at making War of the Worlds. So, or I don't know. But yeah, after arriving back to Earth, 2 weeks later, all of Earth starts to notice like different phenomena or phenomenons or different unknown weather events where lightning would just strike in one place. And but another thing I like to say before I continue, that this story is 100% fiction. I know I keep on saying that, and yeah. So these, well, all this town does actually encounter, well, the tripods, and then a group of people, well, would need to end up leaving because these tripods end up starting to, well, they are on the loose and causing mayhem. And or actually no, they're not gonna be tripods. They're gonna be ET aliens. So those aliens are gonna be ET, but very slightly smarter, and or I don't know, or aliens that want to know more about Earth, and where there starts to be a resistance, but or Yeah, so I guess the moral of the story is be careful if you are an astronaut in space. Of how be careful of any unknown anomalies in space. And yeah, so on to our next story, where this would be more structured this time. And so, yeah, so a group of astronauts were on their way to, well, no, actually, so Earth actually ended up being, well, Earth ended up being very similar to what happened in Wall-E, where there was just Wall-E and everything, where maybe this is just my own perspective of like a story of Wall-E, where this company by and large, where they were trying to, like, I guess maybe almost be like Walmart or something, and where there was this ship called the Axiom, and this whole ship that looks like, well, this spaceship that would be like a cruise ship almost, and there would be these people in Wally where they would just be flying in space, and but the robot Eve, well, Eva, did actually bring back a specimen of, well, the boot with a plant inside of it. And but until the captain of that ship did end up seeing what Earth did look like, then later on into the movie itself in Wally, they ended up going back to Earth and trying to end up cleaning up Earth, and which the moral of the story is to maybe always clean up after yourself, and or maybe yeah, maybe that could be the moral of the story. So yeah, so here were some stories. I know these probably didn't really seem like stories, but yeah, it's the best I got for right now. But I promise there will be some more stories. I would love to watch Wally again, and that is honestly my all-time favorite movie. But I wish there was a second one because, well, I really think, like, it could probably, well, it would maybe take place, well, obviously, it would take place on Earth maybe 3 years after they would clean Earth, and, like, society on the planet, on Earth in Wally, would be a functioning society, and stuff would be back to normal and in Wally. And I think I know what I'm gonna do is, ooh, that's what I should do. Make a story where, like, a script of Wally, if there was a second movie or something like that. But which Pixar movie? But yeah, I'm not even gonna respond to that. But yeah, bye bye.